Hi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm TJ, and this is my son. What's your name?
My name's Son.
What's your What's your name?
My name's Andrew.
Andrew. Okay. Yeah, and yeah, we're here for interview for a project, the male perspective of adoption.
So, just to start off, how did you feel about the adoption process at first when you first decided you were going through this?
Well, when me and my wife, almost 9 years ago, we were planning to conceive. We were unable to conceive on our own, natural conception. So Um, we I was kind of hesitant with adoption at first. It was kind of at first I wanted to just do it naturally, but since that wasn't an option due to physical health problems that's hindering us from natural conception, we looked into it. I wasn't really fully on board with adoption at first, but through the process, it was it was. I kind of opened it up. I opened myself up for the adoption process, and I was okay with it.
Okay, so you led to the decision of adoption.
Yeah. Um, when my wife really wants to have a child, it's kind of difficult not giving that when she really wants to have a child. So I gave in for her needs, but at the end I also gave in and I really need that.
So, after you went through this adoption process, how did you feel immediately after, and how you feel now?
Oh, definitely it was a blessing. It felt like a blessing receiving the child. Andrew. um, uh, it was it was like a blessing from God for us because we prayed so much for a child. We waited for 4 years. It was a hard 4 years of waiting, but our blessings, our prayers was answered through receiving Andrew, 3 days old baby.
So how do you feel now about the whole adoption process?
You know what? For cases like me, and my wife having trouble conception, um, it's all worth it. Like all the money, the fees, the process, how long it takes, all the interviews that we went to, all the seminars that we went to. It takes time, but if you, that's your intentions, that's your will to have a child, then you put that aside and just do everything, just get it done. And we did it for 2 years. 2 years wait after that, and then we got our baby, now toddler.
So, can you tell us about the process when you got that initial call and what happened immediately after?
So we got that call. We got an interview first. It's all about psychological background checks, all of the history checks, because the process of adoption, it's more on if we're fit to be parents for any child that they're given our way, right? So that's mostly the background checks was really hard. It was more personal interviews. It was really sometimes controversial questions, but you know what? In our head, we had to go through it. So we went through it. We answered all the questions, and we had to be careful of all our answers because if we're talking about how disciplining, for example, a child, it has to be on a Canadian standard. So and it's a good thing too. We learn a lot of things throughout the process, so it's everything's good.
Can you tell us where you were when you got that call and what it was like when you got received that call?
Okay, so we were in Los Angeles airport. We were hopping onto a cruise that was in April 18th of 2016. We got a call, and our social worker asked us, "Hey, are you interested in a newborn, 3 days old?" Technically, that was 1 day old. So immediately, like we asked, "Oh yes, definitely. What's the problem?" was there any problem right away? Like that's the first thing we asked, and they did say that he might have some seizures, because they found like right after the C-section, because he had a C-section, he's a C-section baby. Um, yeah, they found like he was having jitters, but it was a blessing because we the moment we accepted him, we found out it wasn't seizures. It was just through the birth mom was high blood sugar, and through C-section he was having hypoglycemic episodes just due to the jitters, and then it was resolved after that. So it was a blessing.
So I just wanted to follow up on that. If there was some health concerns, would you still proceed with the adoption process? And did you have any like reluctance to go ahead with it?
Of course. First of all, we have to be fair for the child that we're gonna receive. If we are expecting a child with some anomalies or some health issues that me and my wife can't take care of, we definitely would say no, right? There are limits, but for seizures, as a nurse working for 10 years, seizures I can take care of, I can deal with, and me and my wife we talked it over. Hey, if it's epilepsy or seizures, we're okay with that. But fortunately, it wasn't.
So last question. Do you have any recommendations for future couples that may have difficulties in conception of having a child of their own?
Yeah. My recommendation is to do lots of research about adoption because I know it's not fully advertised out there to the globally. Basically, even here in Canada, it's not advertised, and people don't know about adoption, and it is an option out there. For people that have difficulty conception, it's an option for them to take. It's a process, but it's all worth everything.